Hi, this is Renee Knight with Autonomous Media. We're at the AUVSI show in Orlando talking with some of the vendors here. And I am here now with Christina Aizcorbe of Velodyne Lidar, the VP of Government Affairs for them. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time. I know these shows are crazy busy, so appreciate you sitting down with us.
Thank you.
So to start, can you talk about what you're focused on at the show? What's kind of some new things going on with Velodyne?
Yeah, no, we're really excited to be here. This is my first Xponential. I've been with Velodyne for just about a year, leading their public policy and government affairs work. So for a public policy professional, it's really interesting to actually start to get your hands on tech, right?
Oh, sure.
See the solution, see how the technology is being integrated, and really understand the use cases, right, that everybody's focused on. For Velodyne, we're really thrilled to be highlighting some of our work using LiDAR technology to power solutions that can get into really hard locations. Certain examples like construction management, we're demoing with ClearPath. We've got their Husky automated vehicle here to help manage the costs of inspections and monitoring construction sites, which can eat up a lot of your costs of that kind of a project, up to 20% in certain cases, just because of fixing errors when you're doing the spot checks on a construction site. When you have a vehicle that can continuously scan and observe the site itself with the data that we get out of LiDAR, you can save a lot of costs. So we are also focused on our new perception software, Avella, and we've already talked to a number of customers who are really thrilled to start looking at it. So that's exciting for us.
Very cool, very cool. So can you talk a bit more about what are some of the benefits of using LiDAR and why are customers wanting to turn to LiDAR now?
Yeah, I think now we're at a place where the industries that we're working in are more familiar, less maybe shell-shocked by the raw data and the amount of data that comes from a LiDAR scanner. And so with the software capabilities that we have in object detection and recognition, it really enables that growth of innovation that we're seeing on the solution side. And so the value of the technology itself, I mean, obviously we have a sophisticated audience. Most everybody knows what LiDAR is or has used it or seen point clouds.
Absolutely.
It's the nighttime 24/7 ability to drive vision. Because LiDAR uses its own light source, we're not hampered like some other technologies, sensing technologies that have their own benefits really for certain use cases. But in LiDAR, in the case of LiDAR, the high resolution is really the benefit that we're seeing where companies need to get on the ground and understand with high level of precision, what they're observing so that they can have real solutions and, fix the problem that they're addressing.
Okay. Can you talk a bit more about some of the areas that you're in as far as LiDAR being used?
Yes, everywhere.
Everywhere, exactly.
No, it's true. So when I came to Velodyne, part of what I was really passionate about was the infrastructure application. Using LiDAR, we're working with a number of states, cities, localities, as well as at the federal level to educate all the regulators and city managers, traffic controllers, the high resolution data that LiDAR can bring to traffic controlling or monitoring pedestrian movements along the roadway, it really changes the safety case for what we're seeing on the roads, which is increasing roadway fatalities and serious injuries. So right now, most pedestrian fatalities occur at night. Most traffic intersections are equipped with camera technologies, or you see radar in certain cases, longer corridors. But use of one scanning LiDAR at an intersection instead of 8 different cameras can really bring a completely different set of data analytics to what types of vehicles are using the roadway. Are pedestrians crossing outside of a crosswalk? Where are the near misses and calculating that, or wrong way detection? These are new capabilities that LiDAR is really bringing new value to because it does have that nighttime performance. It brings better vision than certain other sensing technologies that are currently being used. But we do have, obviously, as the show is showing, a number of UAV operations. So the drones here are just really fascinating to see. A number of them use Velodyne LiDAR, so I'm educating myself on what they're focused on. The advanced robotics we're seeing in logistics and manufacturing and warehousing. One other thing I'm really passionate about is the human factor. So we talk a lot about getting people out of the dull, dirty, dangerous jobs with inspections and use of what in many cases is a superior vision to even the human inspector that would normally be putting themselves in danger doing these things, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, seeing that power also in the manufacturing context or the warehousing context, getting humans out of the times where they might be tired and enabling continuous operations of a warehouse is something, again, I'm really passionate about seeing growth in that space, because I think from an economic perspective, but as well as a human safety perspective, the technology itself, because it's so precise, can bring a lot of value.
Yeah, the safety element is really big. So that's great.
Yeah.
So talk a bit about the automotive side and kind of ADAS and kind of how that's all.
You notice I left out a huge market, not intentionally. Not intentionally. As a former federal regulator myself, that is where we on the policy side see the most activity. Because most everybody owns a vehicle of some sort, or has access to one, or needs one at some point in time. So right now, what we refer to as ADAS, or the Advanced Driver Assistance System. So these abilities like the automatic emergency braking or lane keep assist. So if you're, not paying attention and your car becomes a helper. But the question now is, well, when is a driver coming out of that role and that responsibility of the driving task? And that raises a whole new set of questions about regulations and what is a suitable safety, like level of safety that the technology is going to drive, because you're not relying on a human. So right now we have ADAS-equipped vehicles for consumer purchase in the passenger vehicle side. We're seeing a lot of autonomous commercial trucking deployments and piloting to test out those technologies. But the difference between a vehicle that is powered by a human and a vehicle that is truly autonomous without the expectation of that human driver are completely different systems. So ADAS right now, most on the market don't use LiDAR. They are camera and radar based. And what we're seeing, unfortunately, on the safety side is that there's an expectation that these ADAS capabilities are suitable in many respects to perform the driving task, but they're really not. Because they don't have LiDAR, they are prohibited from doing things like, or restricted from doing things like observing slower moving objects in the roadway or nighttime vision. Camera isn't its own light source. So when you're looking at the technologies, there's really a problem if you don't have that sensor redundancy in the technology that can not only step in if a sensor were to stop working, right? Yeah. But also just the technology itself in many respects have certain limitations or benefits depending on what you're looking at. But for fully self-drive, everybody knows LiDAR is going to be a part of that ADS stack, and it's going to require it because you need the redundancy to perform at the level where the vehicle can actually drive itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Very cool. Well, I think that covered the questions that I had. Very informative, great information. Do you have anything else you wanted to add that we haven't talked about?
The only thing I'd say, if you haven't come over to our booth, I think it's 2149. We're sort of here in the middle. We've got also our cool AR, VR, virtual reality headset that you can come test out. And it was my first time ever trying it. I don't have one for my own personal use, but it's a lot of fun. And it is LiDAR powered, and so you can fly around and actually observe the floor with LiDAR point cloud. Yeah,
I might have to come check that out.
You should. You should. It's really fun. It's really fun.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you again taking the time to sit down with us and chat. This was very, very informative, and we appreciate it.
I appreciate the invitation.
Great.
Thank you.